after 5 years, am I getting a chance to finally be speaking to one of my personal favorite musicians? And when I say personal favorites, she's somebody I've been listening to from the very beginning. I think it all started when she, did Marriageable Age. And I have always admired her uncanny ability to mix jazz and Carnatic vocals together. And I think I'm not the only one. There is a whole lot of us who are simply appreciative of that. But Aptiti Ramesh, welcome to On VJ's playlist. Firstly, I'm so happy to be hosting you for an interview after 5 years. If you may remember, the last time I hosted you was, at the studio of my at my last working place. And we did an interview with Pragnya Waklu, and that went off so well. And I still remember the impromptu jam that, both you and Pragnya did together on one of her songs. And it was so good. But 5 years after, it's been 5 years since that. And, we've always exchanged pleasantries on social media, even though we stay in two different cities. But it's been so amazing to see how far you've come from, the last time we have met. Firstly, how you've been doing, and secondly, how do you look at, how do you view your journey from the last time we met to now that we speak?
I've been good. I've shifted to Bangalore. Earlier, I was in Bombay, of course. I really feel like I'm a different person and an artist now than 5 years ago. I think every artist feels like that. So I think that the pandemic was very interesting because it was a time when I got back to practice and I also started to get into production. And I feel like these two things have kind of given a maturity to the sound of all the unreleased music that I'm going to be putting out. So I do feel like sometimes I feel like I don't really relate to my earlier work as well, but I also am excited to share a lot in the coming, months.
Of course, we're here to discuss about your recent single, Filter Coffee. Firstly, between two South Indians, that's enough a reason to already be celebrating, because we are talking about something that I'm sure both you and I just love waking up to every morning. Growing up in South Indian households, filter coffee is such a staple. Firstly, before everything else, what was the idea behind Filter Coffee? Why was this a song that you felt that you needed to put out in the world?
So the message behind the song really reflects, I think, my state of mind and some things that I've been thinking about for a while now. And that is the constant need for attention and validation that we all have, it is fostered a lot by social media, because we basically are very unsure about how we are doing in life. Every single person, regardless of what you are doing in life or who you are. And it leads kind of to this cycle of anxiety where we keep feeling like we need to have something to show for ourselves. Otherwise, we're not really doing well in life. And it causes a lot of stress. We wake up feeling like, oh, I need to do something today. I need to do something concrete today. So the song just kind of tells the listener that, everybody is winging it. You still have to bring it. You still have to put in the work, but also that it's fine. Just drink some filter coffee and feel better about life. And for me, when I drink my filter coffee, it's like putting pause on all of this stress. So that's kind of how it came about. Also, when I was working on the project itself, I was kind of tripping out on some very nice coffee beans that I had got. So the first jam of the music, we just named the project Coffee. So that's how it became Coffee, Filter Coffee.
Well, I do not know what brand of coffee, or what great coffee were you resorting to, but I still very clearly remember. It's been very recent. You had posted the process of making the filter coffee, and then yourself you realize that there was a step or two that you probably have kind of done incorrectly over the years of making filter coffee. But there's something so peaceful of just watching you do that. I don't know if it is still on your gram, because I was trying to look for it, and then it doesn't show on the grid. But it's amazing to see what just the idea of making a little reel of, how to make filter coffee can do, it certainly perks up somebody's mood. And that's exactly what filter coffee as a song does, because um I think the last time you released a song, Aditi, was in 2021, was Shakti. And post Shakti, it's been more than a year, where I think 2022 was when you chose to take that year off for yourself and focus upon the kind of music that you wanted to evolve into. Did it come from a place where you felt that you were limiting yourself, consciously or not, to a particular style of music that people had sort of come to associate you with?
Yeah, I still feel like that. It's like I'm still in the process of breaking out of that. So yeah, the first 4 years of my being a professional musician were characterized by, of course, Carnatic hyphen jazz. That's because that's kind of like the first stuff that I put out, the first music that I put out. But those
No, that literally became your definition on every single article or every single piece that I've read about you, Carnatic jazz vocalist.
Yeah, but I don't think that that is me. I mean, that is two of many influences. Of course, they are strong influences because Carnatic, especially because that's what I've learned. So that's the language in which I see all music. But that fusion, like that was just the first few songs I put out, and I think that limited me. And I also felt the pressure that people expect me to do this, so I have to put it in every song. And then it came to, when I put out some songs in 2020, Heal and then Sambar Soul and then Shakti, that didn't really have that influence. It's like it's there when required, but I started to feel like if the song doesn't call for it, I don't want to put it anymore. And then I think 2022 was the year when it was a lot of self discovery. I wrote a lot of new music, the most number of new songs I've ever written. So there's a lot of material that's now in the process of getting finished up. So I think Filter Coffee is going to start, a bunch of regular releases. But I think I needed that time. And I also then refined my live set as well and started diversifying that into like a band set. And then I have a solo electronic set. I have a duo acoustic set. I have a corporate set. So building different setups and different material depending on the kind of show that I'm doing. So this is all what was going on during 2022. And I think it needed its time to breathe and come together. So I didn't push it and put it out just quickly because, I need to have something to show for myself, like I was saying. So it was really good that I took that time to do this. It was a very busy year, even though I didn't have anything to show for that year yet.
For many who are possibly watching this and who aren't aware of your journey, in the, they just aren't aware of your journey. You are, you were formerly a lawyer. You had a very promising, lucrative career ahead of you, but you chose to, you chose music instead. And it's been a very eventful journey since then. But how do you look at the idea, or I won't say the idea, but how do you view your decision, Aditi? Has it been eventful for you? Because, as an independent artist, it can get a little worrying and daunting, when on one hand, you've sort of, forsaken a secure option for yourself, a secure career option that promises you, that fixed paycheck at every month. And then you have, as an artist, you have uncertain periods where one moment, things are in your control, and the next there's a sense of uncertainty. So for many people who are somewhere wanting to pursue music full time but are still kind of holding on to a more stable and secure option for themselves, what would you like to tell them?
I would say that even when I first quit law, I did have a day job for about 2.5 years. And it was like something that was less demanding than a law firm job, because I don't think it's possible to do this with that kind of a job. But it was still a 9 to 5. And It was a lot of hard work and hustle. It was literally 2 years of Monday to Sunday, every single day, early morning till night. Because any time when I'm not in office was when I got to do music. But I do think it's helpful to have an alternate source of income in the beginning, because it gives you that space to, first of all, learn about the industry. I didn't know anything about the industry when I started. And second of all, more importantly, is find who you are as an artist. What is your voice? What is your aim? What are you trying to do? Without having that pressure of depending on that for your survival right in the beginning. So I always tell people that if there is any way that you can get some alternate source of income, or even if your parents are supportive and they're supporting you, that's great. Like, you should take all the help that you can, and try to not put that pressure on your art right at the beginning. And I would say that yes, of course, it's very difficult at times, and I feel like that even now, after so many years, after doing so many things that I never dreamed I would do, I still feel like that periodically. I feel like quitting. I feel like, why have I done this? But I think that the point is, the reason why I actually made that switch is that I woke up one day with this realization that what I wake up every morning to do should be the thing that comes easily to me, the thing that comes most naturally to me, and the thing that I like doing. And existence shouldn't be so difficult, and it shouldn't be such a pain that I have to convince myself that, okay, you can do this. And somehow it's just not fitting and not going so well. So I think that was when I just decided to make the switch. And in that way, it's just the most rewarding thing. It doesn't feel like work a lot of the times. So yeah.
For me, the most heartfelt piece of, an everyday episode in your life is when you routinely share videos of you practicing, or, just kind of, doing your warming up exercise, and then you have your cat for company, who is it's an adorable sight. If you remember, Aditi, about some months ago, maybe somewhere around last year, there was a video that you put up of your cat, and you are doing this whole Carnatic vocal exercise warm up, and it was kind of in sync with your cat yawning, and that had left me in splits. I remember even asking you to, kind of share that on the feed, because it was hilarious. It was such a spontaneous video. All I want to get down to asking is, because I spoke about it to Hanita Bhamri very recently. Like, we seldom give our pets enough credit, due credit to, the kind of calm that they bring to our lives, and, how centered do they keep us. And since you're a cat person,
Yeah.
how instrumental and how fruitful has the company of your pet been in making you, A, not just a better person, but B, also a better musician?
I think that, my cat is like, it's like filter coffee. It's like comfort. He's just like a stress remover. He's right here also. He's like curled up right. So yeah, and he also, I don't know, I feel like animals really can perceive music, because he loves music. Whenever we have rehearsals and all, especially drums, he's very fascinated by drums. So
Yeah.
he's just in this room when I'm making music, when I'm practicing. So I don't know, I just think it's like a definitely source of comfort, and he's like my little child.
How has the switch been, Aditi, from Mumbai to Bangalore? Because Bangalore is the hub of great music. I mean, some of the best some of the best finds of Indian independent music, they come from Bangalore. But has the switch in city affected your influences, or affected your approach, or just helped you build a better ecosystem for yourself when it comes to music?
I think that I moved at a good time in my career, because in my initial years, being in Bombay definitely helped me. Just being around, being at the right place at the right time, and things growing very organically without it being planned. And I think that now I've come to a phase, like I've been doing this for about 6 years actually now. And so it's kind of been a nice slowdown. The pace of life is kind of where I want to be at right now. I have more space. I've built this nice home studio. I didn't have this kind of space in Bombay. So I think that the city and just like the chilled out vibe is exactly what I need, especially to be in the headspace to be creating a lot of different kinds of music now, because I feel like my music is definitely branching out in many directions. And you'll see it with the upcoming releases as well, that each of them are in a different space. And I think when I was in Bombay, there was a struggle for survival. So I might not have had that peace of mind to explore the way I am right now. I feel like it's come to a very, very creatively charged point in my life. And also the music scene is great. I've always loved playing in Bangalore. Even when I lived in Bombay, the audiences are fantastic. They actually come out just for the music. So in that way, it's great to play here. And there's so many talented young musicians as well. And I have been working with a lot of them. Some of them are like 10 years younger than me. So they have great attitudes and they are so hardworking, so respectful. So I'm really loving that vibe as well. Music scene here, it's great.
How do you view, the space now, for at least when it comes to, independent women musicians? Aditi, about 5-6 years ago, we did not have enough, women who were being spoken about in the same light as men. But right now, I think I feel considerably that at least there's been a considerable shift in the attitudes. There's been a considerable shift, in the way women artists are getting placed, across, different avenues, whether it's on playlists, whether it's on, the kind of shows, the lineups. Do you think, do you also view the same amount of shift, or do you still feel like we have a long way to go?
I mean, it's definitely changed a lot in the past 5 years. And I think the main thing that pushed this to happen is just that there are so many more female artists now than when I started out. And I think that is slowly normalizing it on its own, like without even anything. I think more women having that comfort and confidence to put their stuff out there. And then you see other women are also doing it. It definitely is encouraging, especially if you're young and you're a new artist. So that has definitely been a really nice thing to see. And a lot of female artists who are creating something unique to them and not trying to sound like anybody else. So I think that has been great. So we definitely see a lot more female acts on festival lineups, generally touring, releasing music on playlists. I think all of that is great. I do think sometimes there is a bit of a tokenistic promotion of women listicles, top women musicians, top women songs, and sometimes it does get a bit much. I feel like it's a bit much, because why are there artists and women artists and indie artists? It's almost like these things are at a lower level, just like it's an unspoken thing, but it's definitely felt. And a lot of times you will have like say Spotify has like this playlist called Indie India, and they have women of Indie India. And it's great because women are getting exposure from the women playlist. But the Indie India playlist is like men. It's like 50 songs men and like 4 songs by women. It's getting better. I'm sure that people are aware of it and they're trying to change it. But these are things that do annoy me at some level. And Shakti was kind of inspired by a lot of this sentiment as well. There's still a way to go, but getting there, I think.
I still cannot stop gushing over how adorable you look in Shakti's music video with, in that complete schoolgirl getup, because I mean that's about the appearance bit, but the messaging behind Shakti. I would only urge people who still haven't heard or seen Shakti to please go and check it out on YouTube or any of your preferred music streaming platforms, because personally for me, I think Shakti is one of Aditi's finest works so far. A little before we conclude, Aditi, if I have to ask you, because like you rightly said, in the last few years, we have seen some amazing new talent crop up, thanks to the pandemic. The discoverability is, has been so large that we have seen new acts, pop up from different corners of our country. So in the meanwhile, if you've had the chance of listening to, some of our amazing Indian independent artists, anybody whose music you've been digging lately and, who you really love and you would want to recommend to our viewers?
Yeah, a lot of people. I think my favorites are Ranj and Clifford and Marianne, or Bangalore homies. They're so fresh and like they're really young and creating music that like I personally would go back to and listen to. And it's not like, oh, I'm supporting an Indian artist, so I'm listening to it. Like I genuinely feel like listening to that music because it feels good. So I think these are three guys who everyone should check out for sure.
So Ranjan Clifford and Marianne Alexander. Yes. Lastly, Aditi, now that we conclude this interview, what is, if at all, there is a plan of action? Because I mean, a plan of action is to, it's like stifling a term, I believe. It's like it becomes imperative. But what are the big plans ahead in 2023? Would you like to, kind of uh, shift through your different live sets? Are there more live shows that you're planning for yourself, or more music releases that you have in the pipeline?
Yeah, both actually. Music releases. So I wanted to put out an EP this year, which is now kind of turning out to be an album, my first album. So I think that's pushed to
Yay!
next. And instead, I do have about 3 singles at least, I hope, if I get them done. I have 3 to 4 singles for this year, each in different spaces. And I'm also going to be venturing into regional releases and non-English for the first time for a couple of them. So I'm really excited about that.
That's going to be really interesting. I can already, sorry to cut you, I can already imagine you pulling off Tamil in a very jazzy way. That's good. That already sound that the promise of that already sounds very exciting. Aditi, get going. Let's do that.
Yeah, done. Like I think the next one might be that. And apart from that, yes, definitely more gigs. We're planning a few tours, especially because of I'm releasing after a long time. So my live set is itself very different. So for anyone who has seen my old live set, even the band set, it's now a little different because I now also use in Ableton. I have electronic elements. I have songs where I actually move across the stage, which is something that I never got to do. I was always behind a keyboard. So that's been pretty fun to kind of explore that. It's a totally different side of myself as a performer. And the material is, of course, new. There's a lot of new unreleased music in the live set. And then I have my solo set. If you haven't seen it, is it's very dancey. It's electronic. It's not really a single songwriter set. I would say it's a live and electronic set with some looping and beats and stuff. And then I do have an acoustic set as well. So like I think in the coming months, like if you see my name on a gig, like it might be different every time. So that's kind of, and even the music, I always like to keep changing it up between gigs because for myself, it's fun. I have something to look forward to. And for anyone who, a lot of people come to multiple gigs of mine, I really appreciate that. So I always want to give them something new, like that they didn't see the last time. So that is definitely going to happen over the coming months. And yeah, a lot happening. I'm excited.
Clearly, Aditi, you really have, an array of plans ahead for yourself, and some very exciting ones. But as much as it hurts me to say that, I'm yet to catch you, performing live, because somehow something or the other just doesn't fall in place. But I really hope that I get a chance to see you very soon in Mumbai. But thank you so much for talking to me for On VJ's Playlist, Aditi, and I wish you all the very best. And yes, now that we are wrapped up this interview, let's go and grab that cup of filter coffee for ourselves. And I urge everybody to please go and check out Filter Coffee and stream it as much as you can and show Aditi all your love. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for having me.